Hey, what's going on, y'all? This is Mr. Fitness, the body transformation specialist. And on today's episode of Weight Loss Warriors, we're going to be speaking with Amy. So Amy's got a pretty awesome story, and she's going to share with it all of it today. So she's going to talk about where she's been, where she's at now, and where she's looking to go, and everything in between. So if you're new to Weight Loss Warriors, welcome. But if you've been here before, welcome back. See, on Weight Loss Warriors, our goal is to motivate, to inspire, and to encourage you to know that you too can do it. So in just a few moments, we're going to see if we can get Amy on the show so she can share her story. But if you're looking to start a weight loss journey and you don't know what to do, or you've already started a journey, but maybe you're not getting the results, I would love to help. So if you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me and let's talk. But if you're watching this on YouTube, and yes, I will be posting this on YouTube, plus all of my other episodes, down below, click the link and let's talk about getting you started on my online nutritional and exercise program. There, I'm going to create your workouts and do all that good stuff. But we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about Amy. So again, if you've got any questions during the course of this interview, go ahead and drop those down below, and I'll definitely add them in. And let's see if we can get Amy on the show. So I see her there. I'm just going to wait for her to request to be part of the live. And then as soon as I get that, we will be adding her in. But if you got a weight loss story that you'd like to share, and you'd like to do it here on a future episode of Weight Loss Warriors, simply, if you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me. But if you're watching this on YouTube, down below there'll be a link, and let's talk about getting you on. Also, since we already talked about YouTube, if you've missed any of the past episodes and you'd like to get caught up, head on over to youtube.com. Obviously, after the live, head on over to youtube.com/fitnessmotivation4u2. That's fitnessmotivation4u2. There is where all the episodes of Weight Loss Warriors plus some other really good content live. So go ahead and check that out. And while you're there, consider subscribing and hit that bell notification so you never, ever miss another episode. All right, now we got that out of the way, so let's see if we can get Amy on the show. She's coming on in just a few moments to share her awesome weight loss story. Let's see if she will wait. There she is. What's going on?
What's going on?
Oh, nothing much. Where are you going live from today?
I'm in Dallas, Texas.
Dallas.
Yes, we are out of power though. We had a bad storm this weekend, and we will not have our power back until Thursday. So I'm actually at my parents in Arlington, Texas right now, but in Texas.
Look, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Right?
When you gotta do it.
Right?
There you go. So we are here today to talk about you and your weight loss story, and for you to inspire the audience so they can do the same.
I'll do my best.
There you go. So let me ask you, what was your highest weight?
262.
Okay. So 262 was your highest weight. What is your current weight?
195.
So from 262 to 195, how long did it take you to get to that part of your journey?
So actually yesterday was 5 months post-op.
Okay.
Yeah, so 5 months.
Yeah, that's not that long at all. Let's give you a hand clap.
Thank you.
That's a pretty big accomplishment.
Yes, it's awesome.
So what is your goal weight? Are you at your goal weight, or do you still have more?
150 is my goal weight.
Okay. So how long do you think it should take you to get to your goal weight?
I am hoping by end of year I will be there, but I'm shooting for getting there by 10 months.
Okay. So 10 months total, you'll be to your goal weight.
That's where I'd like to be, yeah.
Okay, so I know, based on hearing your journey and what you've gone through and what everybody else is going to hear today, I know that you got what it takes.
Oh, thank you.
The task.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So I know everybody wants to hear where you've been and some of the struggles that you dealt with over the course of your time on this journey. So you mentioned that you weren't always overweight.
I was not. So
what led to you being overweight? What were some of the things that led to it?
There's a number of factors. Some of it started dating my now husband. So some of it, we like to call it love chub.
Okay.
I wound up moving in with him. I had a long commute. I just got lazy. I just stopped doing the things. And you and I talked a lot before about the things that you know that work when your consistency, your routine. And I fell out of that routine and I just never got back to it again.
And you know, for me, consistency is something that I talk about a lot with my clients. So why don't you talk more about that and why it's so important to be consistent with everything you do?
I think, I think ourselves are the last thing that we're always taking care of, right? We're always the ones, we put ourselves last. So, I think when you start falling out of that, it's just something that it's really hard to get back into. When you put yourself first and every morning I'm going to get up at 6 a.m., I'm going to go to the gym, I'm going to come home, I'm going to have my protein, whatever you do. As soon as you fall out of that, you just lose the sense of urgency to make sure that you're taking care of it yourself and the sense of urgency to make sure you're getting it done. It's really easy to not want to work out. It's really easy to want to sleep in. So it's keeping yourself diligent and keeping on top of yourself and making sure that you're sticking with that routine. And that's really difficult sometimes.
Yeah. And part of what I say a lot is that the reality is the majority of people that are in the gym, let's just say the gym, the majority of people don't enjoy working out.
True.
Okay. So if you are at a point where you don't like working out, just understand that that's normal. I work in the gym and I don't like working out. But I understand, for me, it's like I got to practice what I preach. I can't tell my clients to do it and then I don't do it.
Right.
But also we understand that there is how you feel after you do it, which is what you have to remind yourself prior to. So when you get in those moods where you don't want to do it and you just want to slack off and you want to sleep in, or today you want to eat, you want to eat outside of what you should be eating. The reality is that I think where a lot of people go wrong is they forget that consistency doesn't mean that you have to do the right thing every day.
Right.
Like maybe your consistency is I'm going to go to the gym 4 times a week. That's fine, because I tell all my clients a minimum of 4 times a week, but you have to stick to that consistency. So you can't go 3 times a week and twice a week because that just does not work. So consistency definitely is probably one of the most important things that it sounds like has kind of led you away initially from where you were, but also has led you back to now being to where you're at today. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. That's definitely correct.
Okay. So
there's nothing better, like you said, it's so hard to get up and get yourself to the gym, but there is nothing better than the feeling after you get done with a workout. So
exactly. And I think people have to remind themselves that when they get into that mindset of not wanting to go, like you already know that you're going to feel better after you get done, but there's just that mental roadblock that's stopping you from kind of understanding that. But as soon as you just get in the car and go, and I know when it's, it's a little easier in the summer, but when it's winter time and it's cold out, it's tough to get motivated in the morning, especially, or even at night after work and you're busy and you're tired and you don't want to go work out. Like I said, Nike, just do it. Don't think about it. Just do it.
It's so true.
So let's talk a little bit about your childhood, because I know you said that your dad was super critical when it came to weight and you felt his pressure. Mm-hmm. So what role would you say your childhood, if any, played into your overweight as an adult? Because it doesn't say that you were overweight as a child.
No.
Okay.
I was not overweight as a child. I wasn't always obese. I did always struggle with like the 5 or 10 pounds, I got what I would give to have my high school body, and I think I was fat. But, I think one of the things I always got was, the pressure of, looking a certain way and knowing I needed to look a certain way. So I think not so much that it played into my obesity and how my weight gain happened, but I think it definitely played into my mental state of how I felt about being in public, being around people, how about my perception of myself. It played into that because the stigma that I always had around that fact of being overweight or being heavy, that stayed with me. So that part of it definitely played a huge role.
So what advice would you give to someone dealing with that? Maybe, let's say it's a child or a teenager that has that pressure from a parent of having their weight under control, but they're dealing with what you dealt with. What would you say to the parent what would you say to the child?
You know, I think it's like one of those things that, like, you're knowing your self-worth, you know, and that's something that I'm working on still, you know, now in my life is, you know, knowing your self-worth, knowing that you are not your image, you know, you're not who your weight, you're not a number on a scale. And also showing the value. And I think too, if you feel the value of yourself and what you bring, I think that also plays a part into you're getting your healthy. I wasn't right in my mental state. So I think it's always staying on top of it. You know, I do now a lot of reading. I do a lot of journaling. I do, you know, done therapy, because there's also going to be that stigma as I'm losing weight, as my body is changing. So just always knowing the value of yourself. And as for the parent, you know, reminding the child of their self-worth. You know, being healthy is one thing. Yes, you want your child to be healthy, but making them feel that because they look a certain way that they aren't worth it or enough, you know, that's where the problem falls in. So I'd say, you know, just making sure to always be cognizant of that you're always enough.
Great advice. So you just mentioned about your husband and you started gaining weight, but you also mentioned when we talked off air that you lost your dog during a point. You got married, lost your dog, and got depressed.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that depression, and what advice would you give to someone that's dealing with depression that could be leading to their weight gain?
I mean, gosh, you know, that's like one of those things, like, I wish you could go back at it. You know, I think I had a really hard time with it. My dog was like my child. We're not having children. So he was my child, and I lost him. And we went through a really rough first year with marriage. You know, you think you have all these wonderful things. You get married, you find the love of your life, you know, and just life happens. And I think, you know, again, like we talked about, like going back to, you know, you forget, I stayed in the house. Like, get up in those days and you don't want to, get to the gym, walk around the block, whatever it is, make sure that you're giving yourself, you know, good food and healthy food and getting light in your life. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, I just didn't want to move forward. You know, I just wanted to stay where I was. And I think you have to consciously make an effort to get up and go for a walk and go to the gym and, you know, talk to people and be out and engaging. You know, I just became a recluse. And I think you just have to remind yourself that you cannot do that, because it's an ugly downward spiral and it's a hard one to get out of.
Yeah. And, you know, I remember going back to 1997 when my mother passed away. And one of the things that kind of, you know, really saved me during that time was staying busy, but staying busy doing things that I enjoyed doing. And I enjoyed spending time around my clients. I enjoyed helping people get into better shape, and noticed that, you know, exercise is a natural form of stress relief. So it was just relieving the stress of my mother passing away. And I dealt with that a few years ago when the dog that I had passed away, that kind of like with me through everything.
Yep.
You know, so that was another thing, is realizing that, you know, one of the best things you can do for yourself is keep yourself active, not just for the physical aspect, but for your mental aspect of everything. So if you're dealing with depression, it's probably one of the cheapest ways to, outside of medication and therapy, to kind of, you know, get all your thoughts in order and really deal with what you're going through. So I advise anybody, all of my clients, when you're going through something, work it out.
Yep.
You know, go.
I wish I did.
Get some gloves and go hit the heavy bag and whatever you got to do, but keep yourself active.
Yes.
So I know you said your weight fluctuated, and it took you about 8 months to lose 45 pounds. So you said you always had the tools, but couldn't apply them to your life.
Yep. And
then you gave up. So what did you mean by you always had the tools, but couldn't apply them to your life?
I've always been in fitness. I've always been active. You know, I was an athlete in high school and college. You know, I was always like a competitive athlete. And then, you know, I always knew what to eat. I've done a ton of research in terms of, you know, paleo, and done Whole30s. And I've encouraged other people to lose weight. My brother is one of them. My brother and his wife are them. But like, it was one of those things where all the things, if you looked at my Instagram, you'd see that I was at the gym. You'd see that I was eating these perfect meals perfectly cropped and highlighted meals.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't look the part. So, you know, it's like I wasn't being 100% honest with myself. Yes, I was going to the gym. Yes, I was cooking paleo meals, but I was not, again, being consistent, and I wasn't being honest with myself about that. But yeah, it's always been a struggle. And I think that's the thing. I knew what I needed to do to lose the weight. For some reason, I just couldn't get it together to make it happen for myself consistently.
Mm-hmm. So what advice would you give to someone that's having a hard time either staying on track or has fallen off track, and they're looking for something to help them get back on track?
You know, I just think it goes back. I think one of the two things that I did when I did finally, you know, start losing some of the weight in the gym and with food, calorie counting, which is a pain in the butt, but it works. And I counted my steps. I made sure that I hit 10,000 steps a day, come hell or high water, that I made those steps and I got them in, that I made it to the gym at least 5 times a week, 4 or 5 times a week. So I had really consistent goals that I stayed with on myself. I applied them every day. I used the crap out of my app, my fitness app, and making sure I was tracking everything. I just held myself super accountable. And again, you know, it worked for a while and then, you know, it didn't. So it's like one of those things, but it's really, I can't stress it enough. Consistency is key. It's not going to happen otherwise. You have to be diligent, especially if you're someone like me. I smell pizza and I gain weight. It's just my body. You have to be diligent. You have to, because your body is working against you and you have to do whatever you can to overcome that.
So I know we're going to kind of, I guess, fast forward a little bit now to the moment where you decided that it was time to finally do something, time to finally get consistent and really reach your goals. So I don't want to give away the whole story because I want you to kind of tell the story, but we're going to talk about your enough is enough moment or moments. So I know you said you travel a lot and not being able to fit in airplane seats was one of those moments. Tell us how that felt and how that motivated you.
You know, it's like one of those things. I think looking back, like I remember when I was younger and, you know, I would think, I don't understand how people gain weight and they don't realize that they're putting on weight. I never, like, in my mind, I'm like, I don't understand how this happens. Or, you know, I realized this one day that I went to go sit down in an airplane seat and I was suddenly that person that someone was dreading sitting next to because I was taking over the seat. And it was heartbreaking. It was terrible. And, you know, there was another time that, you know, there was molded seats where it didn't have the movable arms and I like squeezed into it. And, you know, it's just these moments of just being so uncomfortable in your skin. And again, having that moment of feeling that you're being so judged that it made me just not want to do it anymore. It's just like, I can't do this anymore. I can't sit here and be the person who's being judged and be the person that I unfortunately used to judge. Now that's me. And I love life and I just wasn't living it. I was over it, you know, and it just something had to change.
So that was one of your moments. Now let's talk about the other moment. And I'm going to allow you to kind of really share this moment. It was, I believe you said it was New Year's and it was a birthday event and you had a onesie on. So take it from there. Tell us about that incident.
Yes, it was, we had a New Year's, we had got a cabin in the woods with a bunch of friends for New Year's, and was one of my girlfriend's birthdays. And we all decided we were going to wear onesies, and we went out to a restaurant where there was cornhole and just, you know, beer, and then we were just hanging out. And I walked out and my onesie was a little snug. I actually wore it last night to bed. It's very roomy now.
Okay.
Mine was a little snug, and some guy, I walked out on the porch and I heard him say, "Wow, I can't unsee that." And it was, you know, I was being judged by a table of people and there was nothing I could do about it. I had to sit there and listen and have that just sink in. You know, and it was a horrifying moment. It's just one of those things where I'm having this joyous occasion. We're celebrating, we're with friends, we're having a great time. And this guy, right or wrong, said one thing and it stuck with me. It just like did not leave. And, you know, it was like this moment where like, this is how people are perceiving me. This is the perception, again, like it or not, this is how people are judging me, thinking of me, whatever. And, you know, I'm more than that. Again, I'm worthy. I'm enough. I'm better than that. And for myself, I need to change it.
So part of this show is to get people started on something prior to getting to that point.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say to that person that's putting off getting started, whether it be the surgery route or whether it be the quote unquote natural route? What do you say to that person to get them to start taking some type of action?
Just do it. I mean, seriously, just get and do it, because it's an ugly place to be. It is a nasty, nasty mindset. It is unhealthy. It's aging. It's the taxing, stressful. I mean, it's just an awful place to be. And again, you're better than that. You have a life to live. You have something to offer. Take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Get yourself back to where you need to be, because there is a great life out there to live, and you need to start living it.
I mean, and I think just to add to that is the reality is that nothing changes by putting it off. It damn sure doesn't get better.
Nope, sure doesn't.
Putting it off. And if you think that by putting it off, you're going to stay exactly where you're at, you're wrong, because your lifestyle continues to be what it is.
Yep.
So you're only going to continue to gain weight, and it's only going to get harder as that happens. So the goal of this is listen to what Amy is saying and understand that there's nothing special about her situation. The main differences between people like Amy that succeed and people that don't is that the people that succeed, they identify their problem, and they're honest and real with themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They identify a solution, and then they take action. Okay, and that is the most important part of it, is taking action, doing something. As I like to say, imperfect action is better than no action.
Mm-hmm.
Do something and correct along the way. So you said that you had been thinking about doing surgery for about 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you wish you would have done the surgery sooner?
Oh, hell yes. I wish I had done it. I think it's one of those things. There is a stigma that comes along with having the surgery, that it is the easy way out.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's a little bit of shame, again, because I think I've always been one of those people who seemingly had all the tools to make it happen on my own. I had lost a ton of weight before and not. I think it was just one of those things that it was like, is this really the route that I want to go? Why can I? It's a little shameful away, again, because of the stigma that it has.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it was one of those things where I just was ashamed about it. I think I was something I really wanted to think about. But, when I looked back at the fact that it took me, 8 or 9 months to lose 45 pounds, when I was literally busting my ass and was not seeing the results that I wanted to as soon as I wanted to. And yes, there is some patience in that, but, I just think it was one of those things where I was a little bit ashamed to admit that I felt in a way maybe I was kind of giving up. And that's not the case. It's way harder. It's way harder than people think that it is. Just because you have a surgery and it aids you in your weight loss journey, it is much more difficult than I ever would have thought that it is as it was. But going back to consistency, I have to be consistent now. I have no other choice. Mm-hmm. So, that's, I think, one thing that people need to remember when talking about getting surgery.
Well, I think also people that are not as informed on what surgery does, they don't realize that a majority of the people that get surgery don't succeed.
Mm-hmm. It's very true.
And I think the part of that is because they don't realize that surgery is a tool. Just like personal training is a tool. I, as your trainer, can't do the work for you.
Right.
You still have to do the work.
Yep.
You have to show up to the gym. You got to be in the right mind frame, and you got to give 100%. It's just like the keto or paleo or low carb. Any of these diets are a tool. But if you don't follow the tool, you don't get the result.
Right.
Okay. And I think a lot of people just don't understand that concept that, first of all, any surgery, any major surgery, and these surgeries, regardless of the sleeve, bypass, regardless of what you do, none of them are minimal surgeries. They all have risks. Mm-hmm. And a lot of the people that do surgery, it's because, a lot of times there's health issues that they need this type of fix now. So I think I always ask myself, you know, my show doesn't necessarily advocate for surgery or not. My show advocates for you doing what you need to do to get you to where you want to be, whether it's surgery or not, doing something. But I always ask myself, is there a way where we can get away from that? People think that surgery is the easy way out. Like people think surgery is cheating. Like I always ask people when they say that, like, I didn't realize it was a contest. I didn't realize it was a race. Look, this is between whatever someone needs to do to get themselves to where they want to be. I applaud that because that person's doing something. It's completely different than the person that's talking about it and not doing anything.
Exactly.
You know? So, you know, hopefully shows like this, and as it grows, will kind of eliminate the stigma that comes along with surgery and allow people to know that there's nothing wrong with doing what you got to do to get to where you want to be. Because again, surgery is a tool. And so let me ask you this. What do you say to those people that think that surgery is the end all be all? Like, I'm going to get surgery and I'm going to be fine. What do you say to those people?
You know, it's like one of those things. I'm in a lot of support groups through Facebook, and, you know, people get on there and they're trying to get back to the way that they were living their life before. And they think just because their stomach is smaller that they can do that. And it's like, you need to make a change. Like, there are things that there are very specific rules that you need to follow, or you will be back to where you were. You know, and I think it's one of those things that it's work. It's work in terms of how you are eating. It's work in terms of your managing your vitamins, your sleep versus your energy, because you have so much less energy because your caloric intake is so much lower. Making sure that you're fueling your body. I mean, it's work, it's research. It's, you know, I did a lot of work with this, and you know, it drives me insane when I get on the support group, and fair or not, there's, you know, that someone's asking, you know, when could you have soda again? When can you, you know, when could you eat pizza? How much bread can you eat? All these questions. And it's like, that's what you're planning on putting in your body. That's what you want to nourish your body with. You know, it's just, I think it drives me insane. And I think I did the work ahead of time, and I would just say that to anybody. I did the work. I did the research. I had a good knowledge base in terms of nutrition before that. You know, and I think it's not the end all. You will be right back where you started, and you'll be way worse off than you were before if you do not follow very specific rules and change your lifestyle and make a commitment to what you're doing to your body.
Yeah, and I tell a lot of people that when in doing your research, what I tell people is, especially when it comes to diet, like, try to follow a, you know, post-surgery diet now before you even get the surgery, and see how difficult it really is. You know, so understanding, can I do this? Obviously you can do it, but the question is, do you want to do it? Because this is what your life is going to be like after surgery. Now, I'm not saying that to say that you can't enjoy life, right? But what I am saying is that I want you to enjoy living life more than you enjoy the unhealthy foods that are ruining your life.
Yep.
The quality of life is so important. And I know Weight Watchers used to have a saying that nothing tastes as good as being thin feels. I mean, you can substitute thin with whatever you want. You know, nothing tastes as good as being healthy feels. Right? So
happy.
Being happy feels. So I think you have to understand that. I think one of the things is food plays such a major role in all of our lives. We celebrate with food. You know, there's food at births, at funerals. There's food everywhere. So I think really coming to grips with that part of it first before you decide to do the surgery, or before you get your fitness journey started, or any of those things, because those are things that are going to need to change anyway.
Yep. 100%.
So, yes. So I know this, you also said there was a point where you hated looking in the mirror and you avoided mirrors for a long time. So how did you deal with that hate?
I didn't. I ate. You know, it's so true. I didn't deal with it. I I got stretchy clothes. I avoided mirrors. I kept doing the same things and putting myself. And I think, you're talking about something before, but I think there's also that point when you're getting close to being at your tipping point where you're like, I have to change something. And sometimes you allow yourself to get comfortable at where you're at. I could be like, I remember thinking like, you know what? I'm fine. I'm good with this. I can deal with this, but you can't. Like, you just can't. I mean, that's why I think it's been so important. One of the things that I really wanted to be committed to after the surgery was therapy and reading and journaling and really doing a lot of mental work on myself, because that hate does not disappear just because you have surgery and you're losing weight. It still sits there. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's just, gosh, I mean, I just ate. So I think anybody who's in that point, you need to start the work on yourself way ahead of that to try to stay on top of it, because it's, again, that really dark, ugly place.
Yeah. And then you said you asked yourself, what would the next 20 years look like if you continue down that path? And you said you realized that surgery wasn't a quick fix, but you said it was what you needed to do to change your life. So what did you mean by, when you said that you were really looking at the next 20 years and wondering what it was going to be like? What did you see the next 20 years being like if you continued down that path?
Painful, unhealthy, sad, really, just darkness. I think it was, I was feeling awful. I live in Dallas, Texas. It's hot as a mother here, and like walking places, I couldn't do any of that. And, I have my friends and they're all, healthy and walking around, and I just couldn't. It would be really sad. Even things that affect your relationships, just the way that you judge people, you're carrying this chip on your shoulder of the hate that you feel for yourself, and sometimes comes out in really ugly ways with other people, being jealous of other people's weight loss successes, having to go somewhere and not being able to wear an outfit that you want to, or not being able to fit into something, or having nothing to wear at all. It just would have been, I don't even know if I would have made it another 20 years if I kept where I was, honestly. It was just a really bad path. And I think I just saw, like, almost like you couldn't even see it, couldn't even see what the next 20 years would look like, because I didn't know I was going to get there. I just didn't know that I had the health, or my body was going to withstand another 20 years, or my mental clarity was going to take it that far,
So you talked about the physical pain, and you said you were miserable every day, constant pain, and you said you couldn't do it anymore. So we know that there's people that are watching this, people that are going to watch it, that are there. They're at that breaking point, but still they haven't made the decision to do something. And sometimes it's because they're afraid. They're afraid of surgery. They're afraid of failure. They're afraid. There's so many fears behind the unknown, the what ifs. What do you say to that person that's afraid? Let's just take it from the surgery aspect of it. What do you say to that person that has fear of surgery?
I mean, it's scary. You're getting a piece of your organ literally removed from your body. Just do your research, stay out of I wish I had stayed out of some of the support group forums, because some people tell these just awful horror stories about surgery. But the risk versus the reward, I mean, it's not even, you can't even hold a candle to it. There is just so much that my life has changed since having the surgery, and that fear is so far in the rear view. It's just worth it. It's just think of the alternative. Think of the alternative of your life versus putting your hands in a trained professional to take care of you. These surgeries happen every day, dozens of them every day, if not more than that. I mean, so it's just one of those things, the risk versus the reward. There's just nothing can compare to that.
So one of the main things outside of surgery that's played into your success is diet. So what are some of your top diet tips that you would give somebody that's looking to get started changing the way they eat?
Definitely protein first. Lots of good leafy vegetables. I have some weird craving that resulted from my surgery that I like crave broccoli constantly. Big fan of broccoli. And just having a balance of what you're eating. I think thinking about everything that you put in your body and thinking of it as whether you have the surgery or not, everything you put in your body is fuel. And, what is the most efficient, beneficial fuel that you can put in your body? I think that always starts with protein, and then always starts with, healthy vegetables and, clean carbs, like a healthier carb, but, definitely focusing on, the protein aspect of it, I think is just really important. So just always making sure you have a balanced meal. Calorie counting, even though it's a pain, is always really important. And I think just knowing and listening to your body and how it's reacting to things, because I do believe that there are, specific standards that kind of apply across the board, but I do also think that it's not necessarily always one size fits all, so I do think, learning and adapting what works best for your body within those guidelines, I think is really important.
Mm-hmm. So how has your relationship with food, what are some of the main differences between prior to the journey starting, even sometimes during the journey when you were off, and now? What are some of the main differences?
Well, it's not, I don't emotionally eat anymore.
Okay.
So that's good. I think it's just a different mindset. I think I didn't really have a rhyme or reason when I was eating before. I would eat whenever, whatever. And I think now it's just a different mindset. I know that I am, again, I'm fueling my body. I'm fueling my body for success. And it's just a happy relationship again. I mean, it's just like, there isn't an emotional eating. It's happiness. I don't know how else to say it.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's perfect. And the way you said it, but a lot of people are going to ask, how do you deal with cravings? How do you deal with, that aspect of diet? What's your way or your tips of helping people deal with food cravings?
I mean, I think again, it goes back to being honest with yourself and being consistent. I don't think that life has to be perfect in this journey. I think there's a difference between falling off the rails and allowing yourself to have an indulgence once in a while. And I think maybe you just change what your indulgence is, or you allow yourself to have those moments where you're enjoying, the foods and the cravings that you've always loved. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think it's being honest with yourself and understanding that it's everything in moderation. And I think that's really important.
Good advice. Very good advice. So let's talk now about physical activity, the gym, exercise. What role has that played in your success?
It's been awesome. So I'm a big Orange Theory fan. So I do a lot of Orange Theory. So it's been good. And again, it's been a balance. When I was heavier, I would go to the gym 5 to 6 days a week, which is always so crazy to me. My body doesn't have the energy. It's really hard for me sometimes to go more than like 3 days probably, unless I skip a day in between. But it's just so enjoyable, and it's so nice to see the changes in my body, and even the way I run now is different. Like I had to readjust my positioning of how I'm running and being able to push myself. I never could run through an entire Orange Theory class, and now I can. It's just kind of nice I also feel like I'm at a gym achieving something now versus just being there to be there. It's a different feeling because I'm now constantly having the mindset of working toward these goals. And it's just a different, again, I can't use the word happy enough because I'm just so much happier with life. It's just great. It's wonderful.
Yeah. So how do you deal with plateaus? We all have them where you're getting results and all of a sudden it just seems to come to a grinding halt. What are your strategies that you use, and what advice would you give to someone that might be dealing with plateaus?
Yeah. So they call it stalls in the weight loss surgery world, but it happens a lot. And I think, again, just going back to the basics, it's, trusting that what you're doing, again, if you're being 100% honest with yourself about what you're supposed to be doing and where you're supposed to be, what, your being 100% honest with yourself in terms of the tools that you're supposed to be using, and you can honestly say that, then go back to just being really consistent and really diligent. Go back to what works, because again, I think if you stay on the course, it's going to work. So you have to really be honest with yourself and making sure that you're being 100% honest with yourself, that you're actually using those tools the way that they need to be used.
And, you know, oftentimes, just to add to that, I find that a lot of times when I sit down with coaching clients and I really talk to them and we really dissect everything that's going on, I guess people don't look at the micro things that they could be doing that could be leading them in the opposite direction.
Right.
So, you know, one of the lives I did last week was on drinking more water and how staying hydrated affects your weight loss. There you go. You know, so when I really talk to people, something as simple as that people don't think about so often, that actually plays a huge role in our success. So I think really being honest with yourself and really being able to analyze everything and really saying, am I doing enough? You know, I once had a client that was upset because she went from 0 days a week to 2 days a week. And I said, well, it's good that you're doing something, but unfortunately, you're not doing enough. You know, and after really sitting with her and really going through it, she understood that, okay, maybe I'm not doing enough. So honesty is the best policy. Be honest with yourself. And you'll probably notice the reason why you're hitting a stall is there's nothing wrong. You're just not doing enough.
Right.
You know, or maybe maybe that you've added too many sugars to your coffee, and could be the smallest thing that and those little things, one little thing, they all add up.
Yep.
You know, over time. So be honest.
Always.
So one of the next things I want to talk about is, you know, I can tell by your smile and your energy that you're extremely motivated now. And, you know, I didn't know you back then, but I can tell you're a completely different person. Not only are you a smaller person, but it seems like, you know, you have this extreme level of motivation. So I guess my question is, what else have you been motivated to do now that you've had this transformation of yourself?
It's a lot of things. I think I don't even know where to start. It's just, life is just better, you know, and I don't know how else to say that. I think that I'm more outgoing. I'm more apt to put myself in situations where I'm talking and meeting people. I've always been a very extroverted person in general, but I've, you know, got to a point where I didn't want to meet new people or be in new places because I was afraid of how it was going to be judged or perceived. You know, I think I've just been putting myself out there more, you know, going and doing different meetups in Dallas and meeting new people and just trying new things. And, you know, it's like a new adventure. I feel like I have a new lease on life. I have a whole new view of how to live life every day. I'm excited for every day. And I just think the big thing is that I now have the confidence to put myself out there, challenge myself, you know, meet new people and just live life, live it, because I wasn't.
So do you have any places you want to travel to now that you can easily fit into those airplane seats? Do you have any new challenges that you've set, any new goals other than weight loss that you're trying to accomplish moving forward?
So actually, yes, I'm venturing into the world of property investment, which is really exciting. So kind of taking a new career path. I've been in the world of marketing and advertising forever, and taking a change and doing a new career path and trying something new, which is really exciting. I couldn't be more excited about it. It's just, you know, to try and be able to work for myself and, you know, see all the work and the energy that I'm putting into something and, seeing the success that comes out of it as a result is just really exciting. And I would not have done that 5 months ago. There's no way I would have done it.
And those type of stories are motivating. I love hearing stories like that because those things motivate me to want to reach for higher goals.
Mm-hmm.
But why do you think that's something that you would not have done 5 months ago?
Because it's a lot of networking. It's a lot of, you know, meeting new people, putting yourself out there. It's a lot of legwork. I mean, the physical aspect of it also. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have had the confidence to go and, you know, meet up with these people and reach out to realtors and, you know, talk to people and do all these different things. I wouldn't have had the energy to go and, you know, renovate the homes and, you know, go around and see houses even. You know, I just wouldn't have been able to do it. There's just no way. You know, from a confidence, both physically and mentally, I wouldn't have had it in me. There's no way.
So, I mean, this interview today has been inspiring to me, and I know it's been inspiring to a lot of the people that tuned in to watch this interview. Again, I am going to be posting it on my YouTube channel so you guys can watch it again and get those gems that Amy just dropped on you. But Amy, one of the last questions I ask everybody that comes on the show is, what are you hoping to accomplish by sharing your story?
So I you know, I debated. I have a blog, you know, like I dabble with, but I debated about sharing my story. Like I said, I'm a pretty extroverted person, and I've always been really honest in terms of my struggle and, you know, my life. And I went back and forth about, do I want to share this with people? Do I want people to know? And it finally came down to it is, as you know, I was typing it out. It's, if I can help one person who is stuck in this mental darkness and this unhappiness, and I can help them to feel confident and want to do more for themselves and be where I am now, then that works. Like, that's the whole thing. And, you know, I as a result, one of the strangest things that came out of this surgery, you know, on top of everything else that's been wonderful, is it's amazing to me how many people are caught in this headspace. And this includes people who aren't overweight, you know, they're struggling with 5 pounds. And so many people that came to me after and said, you know, thank you for sharing. And like, I didn't know you were feeling this way. I feel this way too. Let's support one another. And that means more to me than anything. The fact that I can inspire someone to be in a better place. That just means everything to me.
So where can the viewers find your blog? And guys, I'm going to put the link for the blog in the description on the YouTube video, because now I'm interested in checking out the blog. So where can we find your blog?
It's stillamyb.com.
Stillamyb.com. So again, guys, I am going to put the link in the YouTube video. Where can people follow your journey? Give everybody your Instagram so people can follow your journey.
It's _stillamyb_.
So guys, there you have it. Another absolutely awesome episode of Weight Loss Warriors. Amy, thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining us and sharing your story. Guys watching, just remember that it does nothing to get this information, to get all motivated and all pumped up, and the live ends and then you do nothing. Like I like to say, Nike built a multi-billion-dollar company on one phrase and one phrase only, and that's just do it. So guys, I hope that you take this information and run with it. Matter of fact, sprint with it. Do something and do it now. Take immediate, massive action. And Amy and I guarantee that you will get results.
Yes, you will.
So guys, this is Mr. Fitness and Amy. We're about to sign off. And remember, if you've missed any of the past episodes, head on over to youtube.com/fitnessmotivation4u2. That's fitness motivation, the number 4, the letter U, the number 2. Check out every episode and subscribe to my channel and hit that bell notification so you never miss any of the future episodes. Also, if you got a weight loss story that you'd like to share and you'd like to do it here on a future episode of Weight Loss Warriors and you're watching this live, DM me and let's talk. But if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link down below in the description and let's talk about getting you on a future episode. Last but not least, before we sign off, if you're looking to start a weight loss journey and you don't know what to do, or you've already started a journey, but you're not getting results, I'd love to help. If you're watching this live, go ahead and DM me. But if you're watching this on YouTube, click the link down below and let's get started together. Guys, this is Mr. Fitness, the body transformation specialist, and Amy signing off.
Thank you.
And as always, guys, where there's a will, there's a way. And I hope you have an awesomely great day. Till next time.